Join the Alliance, collaborate with your people. You could tap into the Alliance for resources. You could ask questions about what trade shows are good, what trade shows are not good, even nitty gritty to customers of what kind of events work. It's a miracle that we are so collaborative at this point. I just think we have the right personalities.
Okay, we're back. We're here. It is December 1st. It's time for another episode of Ventures in Business Live. Mandi, happy December.
Holy December, Amani. This came, this went. And here we are, Amani.
Yes.
And I have some exciting news to share with you.
Talk to us.
This is going to be the very last show in my renovation rental because we moved back in to our house that we have not been in since April. We moved Saturday, less than a week. We finally moved back. So are you going to miss, well, right now you just have packing tape on my backdrop. We took the art off. Are you going to miss this? Are you going to miss the uncertain internet and this weird backdrop?
Yes, I'll miss it all. I'm missing your dog hop up on the sofa behind you during the episodes. I'll miss it all there. But, I've missed your old place too. So I'm excited to see the renovation.
Oh, okay. Well, I miss you. Speaking of missing things, we haven't had a show in 3 weeks. I want to know what's been happening. What are highlights and lowlights in your last couple weeks?
Okay. First of all, before I say my highlights, we're going to shout out to John Todora, who's saying hello. So hello.
Hi, John.
Betsy Baker's also saying hello. So welcome in, everyone. Betsy. I would think highlights. I went to Austin, Texas for National Speakers Association kind of training. That was the week before Thanksgiving. So it's been a while since I've been in Austin. So that was cool.
Did you get any Terry Black's barbecue?
We did get barbecue. It was not Terry Black. I had some barbecue that was very spicy and caught me off guard, and I had to go and run and get some ice cream. So that did happen. So yes.
Oh, Monty, we're not built the way we used to. Did you have to take a Tums? You take a Prilosec?
My poor tummy. Yes, I know, my poor stomach. So that was fun.
Sorry.
Besides that, just really the semester's coming to a close. We got 3 weeks left. And that's pretty much it. That's what's been going. My football team is poop, so that's been depressing, and that's it.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry about your Washington team, Browns. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't even watch yesterday. I don't even know what happened. I know they won the week before. I was forced to watch, but
yeah. But anyways,
fine.
I want you to tell us who our guests are coming to the stage this week, and then we can get into our conversation.
Amani, we're breaking world records today because for the first time, we've got 3 guests. We never had 3 guests on at one time. So we have the founders and the leaders of the California DMO Alliance. So if you travel, do meetings, look at venues, experience fun, play, work in California, you are going to want to talk to people at the California DMO Alliance. So I'm going to go name by name. We have Veronica Rivera. We have Karen Strgacich. We have Suzy Kay, all founders and leaders of the California DMO Alliance. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Welcome. Round of applause for all 3 of you right there. So we have a
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. So I think what we should do first is that we have an award winner that's in our presence right now. And so last week, I think it was last week, right? It was like November 21st at MPI Southern California's installation. Our very own Suzy Kay was awarded with the Past President's Award. So congratulations, Suzy. We're very proud of you. I remember when.
Thank you.
Round of applause again for Suzy right there.
I'm sure it was because of our time planning WeekCon, Amani, all those years ago.
Well, that was mentioned when I made a long, eloquent speech on your behalf for the nominating committee, because if you all didn't know, it was February 2020. It was really the whole year before 2020 when we had WeekCon in Santa Barbara, and Suzy was getting us, just the whole city embracing us and just pulling off I'm biased, but one of the best weekends ever. I'll say that.
Mm.
And I'll never forget, we had a great weekend. We even had a Uggs suite there where you could get your own pair of Uggs. It was so amazing. So yes, yes, yes. That was, but
That's
also
great.
Wow.
you continue to give back to the industry with this being one of the things you give back. So with that, I would ask each of you, what does California mean to you? And I'll ask Karen to tell us what that means to you first.
That's awesome.
Gosh, that's a big question because it's a big state. California, to me, really, the first thought that truly comes to me is diversity. Diversity of population, diversity of climate, of culture, of just so much. We're such a state of variety, if you will. And on our DMO Alliance, we have therefore even more variety. So many different types of cities, from first tier to very, very small. So that's the best part about being Californian. It's like diversity.
Okay.
Make a little shake up there,
I like it.
A
I
little
like
something
it.
for everybody.
Yeah. So Veronica, since you have transitioned and traveled now, you used to be in Southern California. Now you're in Northern California. Tell us what that means to you, and then we'll finish off with Suzy.
Yeah, I will definitely add to Karen and say we are a vibe and collaboration. Like, when I was down in Southern California, now in Northern California, those two things hold true in both locations. So now throughout the state, each of our destinations has its own vibe, very West Coast, and the collaboration I see in California is truly unmatched. So those are the two things I'd say about California.
All right. We like it. What about for you, Suzy?
Well, I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee. So I really appreciate California. I mean, I know this is so generic, the weather, but I'm pretty athletic. So I love that I can go out and run and hike and surf and swim. And I love also, we've got this wonderful collective thought. And in California, the mentality is you can do anything you want to do. Nothing kind of holds you back. And again, I grew up kind of different. So I really appreciate that about California.
We love it. We love it. We see Ozzy Otero that's with us today. Oksana's with us, and Anna Kim. Hello, everyone. Make sure if you have questions for our panel, our group here, put them in the chat. I'll ask them. I guess before I serve it over to Mandi, who wants to share with us kind of the genesis of the California DMO, how it got started, and what was the inspiration behind starting it? Who wants to take that one?
I feel
I'll
like
give that to
should take
Veronica and
that.
Suzy.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Veronica.
All right, I'll take it. So the start of the California DMO Alliance was truly very organic. We started during the pandemic, and it started with a very small group of Southern California DMOs as a way for us to talk, commiserate, talk about, as the pandemic kind of went on, talk about the restrictions. I remember you could read all of those, California restrictions a million times and still not understand what the heck they meant. So it really started from there. And I think Suzy and I never imagined what the California DMO Alliance would be today. But from the inception of meeting monthly, we have continued to do so. We've continued to grow. We've added in speaker series and have really taken every destination that is in California that has a DMO under our wing, and been a resource, not only for the destinations, but also for our customers. So I think, Suzy, what would you add to that?
I mean, I would just say it was cool. We started in June, so June of 2020. So right, right when this pandemic. But as the year went on, it kind of started blowing up. More people started joining. The groups started getting enthusiastic. They're like, we want to do events. We want to collaborate more. So it was cool how it just organically took off.
Nice. Okay, Mandi, over to you.
All right. Well, Veronica, I love that you mentioned the difference between Southern California and Northern California, because I was just up in Northern California with my husband's family for 2 weeks. And I was walking around thinking, like, I love San Diego, but there's just something so magical. I was in Santa Rosa and Sonoma. There's something so magical about Northern California in November where, like, it's sunny, but it's lightly chilly. And then there's turkeys, and then the leaves are blowing and the leaves are colorful. And I think when people think of California, especially I'm from Ohio, people lump everything in California together. They don't know truly how different it is from weather to people to opportunity. So I'm glad you painted that picture, because I was literally experiencing that myself like the last couple of weeks. So I want to take this back to the Wayback Machine, and then I'm going to bring it to the current day for a second. For these listeners and watchers that don't know what a DMO is, what is a DMO? And then for the listeners and the watchers who've been around a long time and they're stuck in the CBB world, what is the difference between a CBB and a DMO? That's my first question.
So maybe we'll let Karen start with that one, and then we'll come to Veronica and Suzy.
I like how Amani is Amani's like facilitating here. He's really professoring out on us right now.
Y'all are great moderators.
I like it.
I'm the volleyball coming over the fence right now from him.
Yeah.
The difference is just a new terminology. I think it's a little bit more modern terminology. Now everyone is referred to as a DMO, Destination Marketing Organization, versus a Convention and Visitors Bureau. There really isn't any, in my opinion, big difference. The only thing that differs is the size. Los Angeles certainly is a robust machine with many layers and many departments, versus maybe, say, Walnut Creek, which is a very small destination. That person that works that's on our team or on our alliance probably wears 5 hats. But there's a lot of benefit to that too, because they're able to really see the full operational, machine and its works. I see the sales portion, and we're certainly communicated to we're not completely siloed. We have great communication within our organization. So we know what our marketing efforts are. We know what our membership efforts are. So it's a way of selling a destination with a lot of different layers to it.
I love that. And when I hear DMO too, I think sometimes people think like, oh, I have to have like a big conference, or, oh, I have to take a whole bunch of people to Disneyland. So can you elaborate on what services are available to people through a DMO in general? And then I'm going to ask them specific about the California DMO Alliance.
Mm-hmm. You want me to answer
Stay
that?
with it, Karen. Stay with it, Karen.
Okay, I'm still with you. So the services that we provide have, like I said earlier, a lot of layers. I'm obviously in the sales department. The sales department, we have kind of many silos inside that as well. I'm on the hotel self-contained. So for Los Angeles County, we have 5 different regions. My team oversees all of those 5 regions. So the hotels inside that. My clients are you, where you are bringing clients to LA County, so to speak. And you're giving me the specs, and I'm sending it out to all the regions, one of the regions, whatever it is, whatever the RFP has. We have another team that's on the citywide. So anything that touches the convention center and all of the housing that supports that convention center. So that is really focused on the downtown area. We have marketing. Marketing it supports us as salespeople. Providing digidecks and microsites and everything that goes along with selling a destination from my position, but also they support our membership. And our membership is hotels, restaurants, DMCs, florists, every occupation that supports the conference world. Membership is another, where we bring in members. That's a whole different team. And then they provide events for the membership to come into us and understand what our efforts are, what the sales team looks like, what the promotions are for the city. We kind of collectively come together. And then there's the inner workings, like the IT department, and there's international trade and tourism as well. So there's, honestly, pick a subject. We kind of cover it all. We're a big machine.
Yeah. If you want to go to California, you want to connect with the California DMO Alliance. If you want to sleep, play, meet, entertain, you want to go to a game, whatever, you want to connect with the California DMO. That's kind of how I look at it. Is that the right way to look at it?
Yeah, and the DMO Alliance, we kind of noodle it down for our clients too. I think it's very unusual for clients to be able to come, like we did you attended this, our luncheon that we do every year in San Diego. And it's an opportunity for them to meet with, 20 different organizations, and for us to collectively share our client contacts with each other. But I think what they come away with is how well we play in the sandbox together.
Yeah.
We really support each other. And if I have a client that, doesn't, LA is just not where they wanted to go, but they wanted to go to San Diego, we make that introduction. So it's opportunities to really kind of noodle us down and not make California such a massive entity.
Hey, everybody, this is Mandi, and I am going to tell you about something super exciting that is happening February 11th next year at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, entrepreneurs, I know you hate sales. I know sales are the bane of your existence. I know you are afraid to tell people about your business. So, I have created a very custom Sales Tales live coaching session, group coaching session just for entrepreneurs. This is going to be 70 minutes of content from me to help you incorporate sales into your business, help you level up the type of customer that you want to work with. And since you are working with other coaches or other business owners just like you get to interact with them as well in this 70-minute long coaching session. So head over to my website, mandigraziano.com, and click on Keep Up with Mandi so you can be in the know for when I launch signups for Sales Tales Live just for entrepreneurs, February 11th, 2026. I want to hang here. I want to hang here for a second because I think that's really, really important, because I think some people might be like, wow, this is all these cities are competing against each other, but they're collaborating. Like, I don't get it. And I think we can all agree there's enough. The umbrella is big enough for, there's so much business and there's a little something for everybody. But I think as a planner, there's nothing better for me than to be on a site inspection in a city when the one hotel calls the next hotel to say they're on their way, or that one hotel calls the next venue to be like they're on their way. That's just a micro experience. And then you expand it to the California DMO Alliance, where it's like, listen, Anaheim isn't going to work, but you're saying, hey, what about Santa Ana? Or Santa Barbara isn't going to work, but you're like, hey, what about this other city? Mm-hmm. And I think that's where the secret sauce is. It's like the swap outs and the suggestions and really helping. So how do you do that? Like, how do you foster that, not competition, but more collaboration among your DMO Alliance?
And we'll let Veronica answer that, because she specializes in kind of collaboration. So talk to us, Veronica.
Yeah, so Mandi, you bring up a really good point. So there was a moment in our history of the California DMO Alliance where our leadership within our organizations were questioning, what are you doing? Like, I know you're on these calls every month, like you're talking to our competitors. Why are you doing this? What is your purpose? That kind of thing. And so Suzy and I had to really explain why we're at the time building the California DMO Alliance. And we felt that it was better for us to collaborate and share, whether it was contacts or, challenges in the industry that we were going through, all of these things together, opposed to competing, because at the end of the day, we obviously want to win the business for our destination. That's what we're in our roles to do, right? However, if it doesn't work for my destination, I want it to stay in California, opposed to going to a Denver or Florida, or and so if I can say, hey, head up the road or to Karen or my friends over in San Francisco, I'd much rather have that. Than just being like, well, yeah, sorry, it doesn't work for Sacramento. Good luck,
Yeah.
So I think being able to share that piece of who we are and what we do as the Alliance is so important. And that's what we were able to convey to our leadership. And then as soon as we shared that with them, they were on board. And I think that gave us another kind of catalyst and changed the momentum and allowed other people to join in. So now, as we continue to grow, that is something that is true to our roots, and we like to make sure that every new member that joins in understands that yes, we are competitors, but like Karen said in the past, we do play nice in the sandbox, because if I can't win this time, I want to make sure that Karen is winning, and then when that customer is ready to come back up north, she's going to be the one to refer them back, so that I think that's huge for us as an alliance, and then just for the state itself.
Yeah,
Now,
I think solving problems. You're solving
yeah,
problems for the customer, because you never want to leave them empty-handed, right? And you're saving them some work too
yeah.
by suggesting. Yeah.
Suzy, what would
100%.
you add to kind of that answer, and also kind of the differences you've seen between, like, what's a DMO compared to a CVB?
Yeah.
I
So,
think,
oh, go ahead,
yeah,
Susie.
well, it's Karen answered it. I think I had an old boss that hated the word bureau because he thought it sounded like the FBI, and he was like, "We're getting rid of that word." And I've pretty much, since he said that, that's when the terminology changed. So there is no difference. It's a newer terminology.
Got it.
So,
Okay. We want to say hello to Anna Laura, who's in the chat here. We also have Alex Lopez. And then Betsy Baker has a question. And we'll stick with you, Suzy, and then we'll go in reverse order. So then we'll go to Veronica and Karen. What advice would you give someone who is just starting in the amazing DMO world in terms of navigating and all that? What advice would you give them?
well, we love Betsy. We love her enthusiasm, and she's been such a good. She's been great to wrap her into our alliance. So I think the biggest thing is join the alliance, collaborate with your people. Karen can speak to what she's going to be doing with Betsy here shortly, but you could tap into the alliance for resources. You could ask questions about what trade shows are good, what trade shows are not good. Even nitty gritty to customers and what kind of events work. So it's a miracle that we are so collaborative at this point. I just think we have the right personalities. So that's my
Yeah,
advice.
that's good. Veronica?
Yeah, I would say we always recommend our new DMOs in the space to find a destination of similar size, because you probably have some of the same challenges or are dealing with the same opportunities as well. But then also find a larger DMO that you can connect with, because somebody that maybe has been in the industry longer on the DMO side, but then also a different size of DMO from you, because they are going to have different resources, whether it's staff members, or they're probably going to have an SOP already created. So let's not reinvent the wheel here, right? So those are kind of, when we have a new member joining in, those are those two kind of key things that we recommend. But like Suzy said, you get a wealth of knowledge just because of the collective that we have together, from people that are just joining the DMO side to years of experience. So.
Good. Karen, what else would you share?
Um, I think one of the kind of important things that the DMO Alliance provides is kind of a mentorship. Suzy had mentioned something that Betsy and I are doing together. Betsy's with San Francisco Peninsula. And she and I were talking about, what's the economy looking like moving forward. And I've had requests from hotels about, multi-level marketing. And multi-level marketing seems to flourish in a down economy because people are obviously looking for ancillary income. And so she and I have been talking about doing a joint trip to Salt Lake City, to Utah, to the various cities that those MLMs and other businesses as well are located. And, she's Northern California, I'm Southern California. So it's going to be a client that wants to come to California, but maybe, they need to be in the North, or they want to go to the South. So, it's just an opportunity for us to kind of collectively not only share information and selling styles, but, create synergy. Because I don't think there's anything better than a client to see that there is a collaboration between destinations, that they don't have that pressure of a competitive feeling. Of course, my destination, I want to be able to bring it to Los Angeles. But, like Veronica said, as long as we keep our economy in California, we love California, and we want that interest and that money and that EEI to remain in California. So, and going back to the question that was asked, what advice can you give? Understand the economic impact of what our agencies provide to these cities. We're a big driver, man. Certainly LA is. Long Beach is as well. They're one of the key indicators of their economy. So it's just really important. Understand how important these organizations are to the livelihood of the cities that we sit in and to the state overall.
Nice. Okay. Since you kind of brought it up, we are in some very interesting times, particularly in the state of California currently. What are the biggest challenges your destinations are dealing with, and what kind of hope for optimism do you have in terms of your perspective? And I'll first start with Veronica for this one.
So I'll take it from kind of a DMO perspective, just as a DMO. Mandi, you hit one point. From a DMO, what we hear a lot from our customers is, oh, I have a small program, I didn't want to bother you, not a big deal, don't worry. Or we kind of get looped in on the back end. So I will say, as a DMO, we are your destination experts. Crumbs make cookies, right? And so I say that in a way that we have our hotel partners that are small boutique hotels, but then we also have our large branded hotels that we're required to support as well. So anything and everything in between, that's who we're trying to share the value of what we're doing from a sales and marketing aspect. So one of the challenges as a DMO is making sure that our customers are always looping us in, regardless if it's big or small. So I'll just kind of leave it at that from a DMO perspective, and the ladies can kind of chat a little bit more about a destination perspective. So,
okay. All right. Karen, what about for you?
Are you kidding? Los Angeles?
I've got to give you a layup here. So go ahead and take it.
Oh my golly, gee whiz. It's been a rough year. We started almost a year ago where the fires in Pasadena, and it's been a lot. But what I have seen in all of the strife that we have encountered, which was completely, not our fault, but we had to be reactive to it, obviously. And we had to really be over the top informative to our clients. And what I was able to see, and I think my colleagues at LA would agree with this, is that there was a real collaborative nature of everybody coming together. And here's an example. During the fires, Mandi's colleague at HPN, we had booked a 2-year program at 2 hotels. They were sharing the program, and they wanted to pull out. And it was a big, because it was a 2-hotel piece of business. It was a little, what we call a mini wide. And they wanted to pull out because they were afraid of the fires. The people that were attending were blowing their phones up saying they didn't want to come to LA, blah, blah, blah. So my colleague and I found ourselves on the roof of a hotel, literally sending a video. And the scene was, it panned all the way from Pasadena all the way over to Santa Monica, Pacific Palisades, so that you could see. And I was standing on the hotel where the program was going to be. So we could see how far those fires were. And it was not nearly what the news was saying in in Ohio or in Chicago or wherever they were. And we saved the piece of business because the client said, okay, great. But it took a collective of all of us coming together saying, okay, we got to pull this together and make sure that we're telling an accurate story. We're not just telling you something, we're showing you something. And I just really felt the shoulder to shoulder collaborative nature of our partners over that time. I mean, we had lots of questions and lots of answers for each other, but we came together, and that was, we're a first tier internationally recognized city, and that felt really good.
Well done. Well done. Suzy, what would you like to add?
I would say the last DMO I worked with was the San Francisco Peninsula. So the challenge there was the perception of Northern California, and San Francisco is so much better now. There's a new mayor, and he's making such a difference and cleaning up the issue of the homeless. And that was a challenge to constantly talk to customers and go, nope, it's fine. It's not what it was. It's getting better and better and better. But that was a challenge, but it's a fun challenge.
This episode is brought to you by Peregrine Hospitality.
Okay, Amani, you know how you go to a hotel, but you never know what you're going to get. Like, is it going to be clean? Is the service going to be okay? Are they going to make my espresso martini the way I like it? Will there be stuff to do while I'm there? Will they get it right? Like, every single time I stay at a Peregrine hotel, they totally get it right.
Now, I'm glad that they get it right, but I'm not really getting it. So what does it mean to be a Peregrine hotel?
Okay, I totally get it too. This is so confusing, right? So Peregrine, they're owner and a management company of some of my favorite hotels, like the Fairmont Grand Del Mar in San Diego, the Sheraton San Diego, Outrigger Hotels in Hawaii.
Now, when you say Hawaii, my little ears and antennas perk up because I love Hawaii. So tell me more.
Right? I know. It's so exciting. So many hotels that we stay in, they have their own owners, they have their own operators, they have their own managers. And I don't think anybody realizes it, that the actual DNA and the profile of that ownership group, that management group, the operator is so important. And that's what Peregrine does. When they operate a hotel, you always know the service is going to be awesome and fast like a falcon. You know that the hotel will be clean and that they've got a really rad sense of style.
I didn't know that falcons were really fast, but I'll believe you there. And I think I might.
The Peregrine Falcon is fast.
Okay. I might have to check them out, maybe plan a vacation to Hawaii. I'm ready.
Okay, definitely check them out. And don't forget, they have a really cool collection of hotels in Central California too, like San Luis Obispo, some really interesting, really cool boutique hotels there too.
Okay. Peregrine Hospitality for the win. As soon as we finish here, I'm going to check them out immediately.
I double dog dare you. Well, I want to build on what you all just said, and I want to go really granular with the question. But like a way that I use DMOs is exactly what all three women are talking about is like, I've had situations before where people are like, what's really going on? Like the numbers don't lie, data doesn't lie. And with a DMO in any city, in any destination, these are boots on the ground that will tell you like, this is safe, this isn't safe. This part of town's awesome, this part of town is not. And I've really never met a DMO that wasn't honest about it. Like I can call a DMO and be like, listen, this hotel rate is a lot lower than everybody else's. You don't have to say anything else, but like, does this hotel compare to this hotel? And they'll be like, it's a value hotel versus a luxury hotel. That's why you're seeing rate. And we can't be in all the same places at the same time. So I think if you want to know what's really going on, you've got boots on the ground with each DMO. That's how I find the best, partnership there. But I want to go granular with results and things like FIFA next year, like getting availability across the United States in June and July is super tricky, right? And the Olympics coming up, obviously in LA. So what impact does it make to the traveler or to the customer to have interactions with the California DMO Alliance during times like the Olympics or FIFA or, any type of major event like that? How do you help us for that?
Karen, you can start off.
Yeah,
Karen, you can start off.
Well, I think the real value is because we are the boots on the ground. We know by virtue of where, for example, LA 28, where all of these sports are going to be held, with each event is going to be all over. From down by Suzy and Encinitas or down Trestles for surfing all the way up to close to Santa Barbara. So there's going to be a big swath of land that's being covered. But as it relates to my city, I'm able to really speak to what's the closest, where should you be? What are the hotels that are already contracted with LA28? What are the hotels that didn't completely contract and there's some rooms available? Who's outside the blocks? Those kind of questions. And having just met with LA28 in their offices, it's I'll tell you, it's a machine over there. And we do have to fall in line, obviously, because there are contracts that are secured with LA28 and the International Olympic Committee. And that's where our knowledge comes in. I'm able to speak to, where they can go and what parameters they have to fall under. FIFA's basically the same, maybe a little bit less. It's obviously smaller, but the same kind of parameters. There's a lesser amount of hotels that are participating in the FIFA blocks officially. So there's a lot of, if Hotel A is, fully occupied with a FIFA contract, Hotel B is just 3 blocks down, and they're not, that kind of lay of the land, if you will. So, but I'm still learning it all too. I mean, there's a lot to know.
But just to ask the question, I think just to have a resource that you can ask the question to, even if you're just learning it, you're still going to ask the question. You're closer to the answer than we are.
Yeah.
And I think, Mandi, that's such a great point because, from a DMO perspective, we're seeing everything on that large umbrella scope, right? Where we know if there's renovations coming down the pipe, if there are those big citywides, what the big contracts kind of look like. That's what we have a better understanding of. And so you definitely hit the nail on the head. We are that boots on the ground. But we also have to take things out from a very wide scope. And our focus is not just one specific hotel. So we don't get to see, the specifics of the books at that one specific hotel, but we can tell you from a larger destination area, like this area is going to be impacted. There's going to be availability here. Let's shift back one day, that kind of thing. So we're able to have those conversations because you're right. You have so many different customers and you have to know a little bit about a lot of destinations where we get to be those destination experts. And we're happy to share all of that information with you because if we are an extension of you and your customers, that's only bringing value to us. And at the end of the day, I feel like that is what DMOs are all about, right? We're trying to bring value to our stakeholders, whether it's internal, our external customers like yourself. That's really what our goal is. So,
yeah. And I think too, I guess I want to just flip this before we flip the script. I want to change gears for a second. This is just coming up for me is I think there's a really cool business lesson in all of this, and it doesn't have to be in hospitality. I think what you're talking about, whether you use one DMO or you use the whole California DMO Alliance, this is a philosophy about partnership, right? Collaboration, collectives, cohorts, like. It doesn't have to stick within the hospitality industry. And so, when you're aligning, I think about like granular, like the hotels, like hotel to hotel, they can go on sales calls together, like a big hotel and a small hotel. If you're a tech salesperson and you sell a solution at the beginning of the process versus the end of the process, why not team up and go see customers together? So I want to ask each of you, in terms of the philosophy of partnership, like what is your individual personal philosophy on partnerships in business?
And we'll start with Suzy with this one.
Well, I just immediately go to that August luncheon that you attended, Mandi. The customers get to see, as Karen said, 15 destinations for 1 hour of their time. That's worth it for a customer. And then we, like Karen, may have a client that I'm not aware of that she's bringing to the table and vice versa. So, I mean, that is beautiful collaboration right there.
Yeah. And time management too. Like you're saving us time. Yeah.
It helps the customers. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Veronica?
I think my philosophy is the rising tides lift all ships. If I have the secret sauce or, I got things going really well for my DMO, I'm going to share it. Like, why not? And just from a business perspective, there is so much business to go around. And I think for me, that has just been my philosophy in relationships and business. And, you never know when you can't take something. And because your DMO down the road, or you're that business partner that is doing the same thing, or maybe something a little different than you, is going to be able to help that customer. And in business, like, that's what we're here to do, right? We're here to help each other. So
Nice. What about you, Karen?
Yeah.
I think my philosophy is always I like to stay curious. I love to learn as much as I can about the clients that are coming into Los Angeles. Obviously, profiles are great, but I really want to understand, what do they do and what's their goal? What is their end game, and how can I make that happen? That's my favorite. It's almost like a high I get off of it, to be able to feel like I've really done a good job for someone, because I heard what they had to say. I really listened with intention, and brought together the best experience. So to me, and relationships too. Hospitality. Hello, it's almost another word for relationship, right? So
Yeah. Well, before we flip the switch, we have a nice question here from John Todora. He says, over the last 5 years, can you share a memorable event or milestone within the California DMO Alliance that you felt had a big impact?
Good question, John.
Has one to
JT,
share?
that's a tough one.
Who wants to share?
I would say our event that we hosted at the racing, oh my gosh, now
Porsche, the
Oh,
Porsche,
the
Experience
Porsche Center. Yeah.
the Porsche Center, that was huge, I feel like, because Suzy, do you remember how many destinations we had there?
I don't. I remember we had like 180 customers.
Yeah.
Maybe 12 destinations, 15. It was incredible. And in LA,
Wow.
which that's hard to do in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's a good one.
I think that event for us was really pivotal, where we were able, our customers were able to see, like, oh wow, they're actually collaborating. Like, they got this cool vibe going on, and we took over the Porsche Center. And I feel like maybe MPI had done it before, but not a lot of other industry orgs had done it. And it was just such a huge success, and people were talking about it. I think that was a big
Yeah.
one for us.
That was a big launch pad for us. That
Yeah.
really that was our event that kind of launched us into a different direction, that we're like, hey, this is working out here. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think there's a lesson in that, though. Like, you got a cool venue. It was centrally located, and you didn't oversell. Like, I think sometimes as a customer, you go to these things and there's so many sponsors, it feels kind of overwhelming. Like, you had the right spot, you had the right collection of humans there. That's cool.
Yeah. So we have to say hello to Terry. Now I'm gonna try to pronounce your last name, Terry. Terry Subkowiak. Let me know if I said that right. She says, congratulations.
Subkowiak.
Subkowiak. Thank you. Okay, good. Thank you for that. Now we are going to flip the script. And we're going to let all three of you ask both myself and Mandi a question. Any question you would like to ask. So who's going to ask the first question, and who are you going to ask that question to? Suzy's got her hand up. Okay, go ahead.
I want to ask both of you this question.
Okay.
I want both of you to answer this question. So tell me, how are you going to round out the next 31 days of the year? Any one big goal?
Ooh. Mandi, you go first.
I mean, I have three missions in the next 18 days. I'm going to grind for 18 days. I'm going to move back into my house next week. And then I'm taking off the 18th for the rest of the year. So I only have 3 weeks, really 18 days left. And then my whole mission is focused on moving, and then focused on closing out. So my husband and I are taking a trip so we can get out of here and not worry about the rest of the year.
Where are you guys going?
We're going to Paris.
Nice.
Yeah, we booked a trip. We booked it for earlier in the year. It was supposed to be a birthday trip for me, but we had to, because the renovation got all waylaid, we had to delay it. So Christmas in Paris is backup plan. Not a bad backup plan.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah,
not at all.
For me, So 3 more weeks left in the semester. So definitely want to round out, finish grading. A dream would be to have all my grading done before Christmas Eve. That would be a dream. That's that's tough, but because the school last day of school is the 16th, so that's one big one there. And just try to set myself up with a strong January in terms of like bookings and things to do in terms of business wise, and then maybe take the last week. I can't take the last 13 days, but the last week to just kind of unplug. But great question. Thank you for asking. Who's next?
All right, I'm gonna go
Go ahead,
because
bro.
I just admire both of you. I will specifically ask Mandy this question, then I have one for you, Amani, too. So, Mandy, I feel like you were always, and both of you, always reinventing yourself and trying to do things different. Um, Tell me about a time where you did exactly that, where you kind of pushed the envelope, you were pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, and you felt like you might not be successful, and kind of what pushed you to keep going. How were you successful? Like, I think I just love that you two are always reinventing yourself. And so I would love to know any advice you have or a specific time that
Yeah.
you were.
Geez, I feel like uncomfortable. I feel like everything I've done is uncomfortable. Like not by intention. I just feel like the last 5 years have been an extreme growth. Like, hey, do you want to do this? Sure. I don't know how. Let's figure it out. I feel like it's just been a lot. I'm actually really excited about the next 5 years to not be in a situation where I'm learning how to do everything.
Hmm.
But I think this podcast is a good example of this. Like this is something I'd never done before. I had no idea how to do it. Amani knew how to do it because he had done it before, but I don't. We both didn't know how to do. I'll let you answer that part, Amani. But like we both didn't know how to do a lot of what we're doing. So I think like just setting up the business side of this, like the managing the people that run the show, like the getting interacting with the guests and what do the guests need and how to make the guests feel comfortable and what assets do we provide and promoting the show and the technology, like we had to learn about what platforms to use and distribution centers and like this is podcasting is a huge marketing channel. It's the most important marketing channel we have right now that barely anybody is taking advantage of, that in 5 years from now, podcasting is the only way people are going to advertise, right? Like, and so to be on the forefront of this 3 years ago and tell people you're doing what's a podcast? It's that transistor radio. And now some people are still into it, but they're asking about it. So I think like the podcast has been just learning, just the technology piece, learning, but then the promotion and then the educating people on the value of it. Like it's been a lot. And then getting great guests like all of you and convincing people to watch and listen and subscribe and follow and all that other stuff. So it's a lot. But
Yeah.
I've been learning, almost more than 3
Three and a
years
half
now.
years.
We're
3.5 years.
learning. And I think I'm just curious, like Karen said, I'm just curious and love to learn. So it's been
Yeah.
an adventure.
To add
That's
on
awesome.
to add on to that. Oh, you want to ask me a different one? You could ask me a different one if you want.
Yeah, I want to ask you a different one because I think this also plays into Suzy's kind of like second career, and she hasn't really talked about it. But so Amani, you are in a very niche part of our industry as a DJ. Obviously, you're a moderator, you're a teacher, you're so many other things as well. But as a DJ, how do you stand out in the industry? And show that you're different, right? And I say that because, and I'll let Suzy talk about what she wants to do next, but hopefully as some advice for Suzy to stand out in her second career.
Okay. I think for me, standing out, like there are very few DJs out there that also are like ingrained in the industry. Like I was a chapter president for MPI Southern California. I work with Global. I also teach the students about the value of MPI and the industry. So I kind of have things covered. Then I've written 2 books that kind of talk about the industry a little way. So when you add all those little pieces up, we have this podcast that's focused on the industry. Like that kind of helps me stand out and be known as more than just a DJ, which is the goal. So that's kind of what I try to practice and emulate as much as possible, which then will allow me to stand out organically. That's kind of how I answer that one. What's up, everybody? It's Amani coming to you. I want to share with you information about my new group coaching program. If you are a 9-to-5 creative, meaning you work a 9-to-5, but you also have some artwork that you want to monetize and get out there, you could be a musician, an author, a painter, whatever. You're a 9-to-5 creative and you want to monetize your artwork, come and talk to me. You can go to amaniexperience.com/call, fill out the form. I'd love to talk to you about some in-person or virtual group coaching. Thank you very much. I'll see you all soon. Now, we're gonna go to Karen's question, but then I want to come back to hear Suzy's idea. So go ahead, Karen.
My question is not really a question. It's more of a comment for both of you, and I'll take each of you individually. Well, first of all, collectively, what I'm inspired by both of you is how much you nourish our industry. And you don't just nourish it from a broad stroke of your brush. You do it very intensely, I guess I should say. For example, I work with Mandi. She and I are on the California Hotel Lodging Association Foundation. I don't know, Mandi, you've been on the board with me now 3 years?
Yeah, almost 4 years. 3 years. Yeah, 3.5.
Bringing her on was like an injection of a vitamin pill. I mean, it was just like, she brought so much life to our board, and she inspired me so much because she took not just interviewing students for scholarships, she really rolled her sleeves up and then asked all of us to roll our sleeves up with her during the gala couple days that we have these students. We go on site inspections and we teach them the other side of what they learn in school, this is what it looks like behind the curtain. And I'm impressed, I'm inspired, I'm in awe of how much she gives to our future workforce, right? And then you're actually in the classroom. You are actually, and you're so involved in MPI, and you guys really do give back to our industry. And I think that if anybody wants to, at the end of your career, if you want to look back over your shoulder, if you can also say, look what I gave back to my career, to my industry, that's a really gratifying feeling. And I'm hopefully doing the same in my own way. But that's a very gratifying feeling to know that when you leave the room, the legacy you kind of left the group, to take those little seeds that you taught them it's going to grow up into something. And I really respect both of you for what you give into our industry.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice. It's really nice. Yeah.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Should I ask my question, Mandy, or do you have one to go before that?
I have one to go before that because it sort of is in the give back kind of thing. Okay. So the California DMO Alliance, you've created this, it's growing, it's blossoming, it's a great tool. Have you been approached by other states that have said, Nebraska wants to do this, Arizona wants to do this, New York wants to do this? And if you haven't, or if you have, what advice would you give to other states about setting up their own DMO Alliance? Yeah. Maybe from a lesson learned, or maybe just like, what would you do differently?
Yeah. Who wants to take a stab at that? Maybe Suzy, you can go first with this one.
Well, I feel like Karen and Veronica are the best ones to answer that. And that question's starting to come up quite a bit. So I feel like, Veronica and Karen, you can answer, but I feel like we're on the cusp of this happening where it's going to translate to other states. But Karen, Veronica?
So I'll just say, I think we are 100% open to share the playbook as we have seen it with anybody that wants to have those conversations, right? I think what is really unique about the California DMO Alliance is when we started during the pandemic, that was something that just organically brought everybody together because you needed someone to lean on, right? And we were able to build the alliance around that foundation of strength, resilience, collaboration, partnership. And since then we have grown. So I don't know that that necessarily could be recreated, but we are happy to share the importance of what we are doing in California, because I think we have created something that is extremely powerful to be able to represent the state, and currently I think we have 53 destinations represented. We have over like pushing 90 members, right? Multiple destinations have multiple NSDs. So we're happy to share the do's and don'ts. I think what is unique about the Alliance is how we were started, when we were started, and how we've been able to keep that um, organic feel or collaboration kind of throughout so far. Karen, you can talk about, like where you're taking us, because I think Suzy and I did as much as we could, and then we handed it over, and you have honestly taken us to a whole other level. And I think this is going to be a lot of what people come to you for is, what does the future look like for the Alliance, and how do you share that with other destinations?
Yeah. Well, first of all, there's no other California. We are the coolest state. And, let's just get that straight. We have the vibe, man. I think it's absolutely the smartest thing any state should do. Every state is unique. California is certainly unique by virtue of its size. We're the size of some small countries. We're the second largest economy. I mean, we are a robust engine in and of itself, but we understand our state, like we were talking earlier, some of the things that we've experienced as a city, we've also experienced as a state. So, I think having that intricate and intimate knowledge of your own state that you reside in and do business in is paramount. But I think it's absolutely beneficial for every state to do that. Turn inward first, figure out what you got, who your players are, what your mission statement should be, and then, go for it, go big. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
All right.
Love that.
Okay. Good. So we got a couple of shout outs here. Jennifer Brandon's on YouTube watching us. Jed Arrogante is also on YouTube. And then we have
Hi, Jed.
Rika Fricks also joining us. So I got two final questions. And I'll start with, so Kelly Lester has a question for us. Is there a hidden gem destination in the cities you represent that you think more meeting planners should check out? And I'll first ask Veronica this.
Oh, that's great. I would say just Sacramento in general. I think a lot of people haven't been giving Sacramento a second chance. They see us only as a capital city where government business takes place, but we are so much more than that. And I'm 6 months into representing the destination, and I have been absolutely blown away by what Sacramento has to offer. We are just a really cool city, and from a foodie perspective, everything's awesome. So I would say, it's hard to say one specific hotel, because I have just been falling in love with Sacramento as a whole and wanting to shout like on every mountaintop about how cool Sacramento is for meetings and events. So
Okay, we'll allow it. Karen, over to you.
Well, yeah, that's a tough question because I oversee 5 regions of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So I would pitch the ball back to them and say, what's the experience you're looking for? Let me play matchmaker for you and see what I can come up with for you. I honestly, every region of LA has a hidden gem, is a hidden gem in and of itself. So I would have to lob that volleyball back to that person and say, what's your experience? What are you looking for? And let's start talking.
Okay. All right. Suzy?
Okay, and I don't have to be politically correct anymore. I'm going to call out my favorite hotel. So the last region I worked for was San Francisco Peninsula, and the Ritz-Carlton Half Moon Bay, amazing. That Northern California coastline is so rustic and rugged, and we had Mavericks, which is one of the largest waves in the United States, redwood trees, hiking, biking. That is such a beautiful, rugged coastline, so different from Southern California. And I truly think a different kind of gem.
Got it. Okay. Then my final question is, and we'll go Karen, Suzy, Veronica in this order, if you would go back and talk to yourself right when you were first entering into the industry, like the day before your first job in the industry, and give your younger self some advice based on everything you've learned so far, what advice would you give your younger self?
Oh boy. I think I would say be kind to yourself. I'm a reasonably competitive person, and failure is not an option. Never has been, never will be. It's just something a cross I bear. And I think I was hard on myself when I came into the industry. I was trying to learn everything so quickly, so fast. I was obviously a lot younger, very young, very, very young. And I think I would just kind of talk myself into just relax, okay? Just relax, learn it, give yourself time, and stop beating yourself up in the process. Because when I look back on those days, I look back in some painful moments that were unnecessary. So,
okay, thank you for sharing, Suzy.
Advice.
Good point, Karen. I feel like my first few years were bumpy in the industry, and I would say to myself, "It's going to be just fine. You're going to figure it out, and you're going to excel and love your job ultimately. So chill out. It's going to be okay."
I'm noticing a theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's like honestly, I feel like that's exactly what I would say. Like, you got this. There isn't failure, just it was not ever an option. And I wish I would have told myself, like, there isn't a mistake that you could make that would keep like the sun from rising tomorrow or a new day from coming, right? So just be open to what the industry has to offer you and see where your path goes, because our industry is so cool. Like, you could literally go in so many different ways. I mean, just on this podcast, right? We're in so many different aspects of the industry. And so, yeah, it would just be like, you got this. Like, just go with it.
Awesome.
and Amani, can I add something to that?
Sure.
You know what? We're women too. For all these young women that are listening to this, the people you see on the screen blaze that flipping trail for you. You're wearing pants because of us.
And no pantyhose. And you guys wear pantyhose.
That's right.
Thank
We all had to wear pantyhose.
Yes, we did. I did not like
closed-toed
that.
shoes, and we had to have our fingernails painted.
Yes.
Okay.
I honestly want to start a female organization called Trailblazers just for this industry because we did it.
Okay.
We can all wear hot pink corduroy blazers. Like,
Put it out there. Put it out there. That's a perfect segue. Perfect segue to Mandy to bring it home for us.
Yes. You've given us so much time today, but you've also given us so much in the industry. Me personally, you've always just helped support me personally. You've supported my customers, and you've been just great women in my life, personal friends, professional friends, just everything. So how can we support you and lift you up personally and professionally? And how can we support and lift up the California DMO Alliance?
Get the word out. Help us get the word out. Further to something Veronica said earlier, where do I want to take this organization? I want to grow us up. Standing on those girls' shoulders was one thing. They did all the work. I'm coming in now, and I just want to take what they started and grow us up. We've certainly become a very legitimate group. We have a legitimate board. We have, we're recognized by Visit California. We're getting there, right? And just allowing us to be on something like this really is so helpful. But we want to get the word out, who we are and what we can do.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Right.
And if you're watching right now, the California DMO Alliance, follow them, click follow on LinkedIn, and then click follow California DMO Alliance on Instagram too. I know it's scrolling on the bottom, but if you're listening, follow both. There's a lot of great information, very helpful information on both as well.
Yes. So we want to thank Karen, Veronica, and Suzy for spending some time with us, sharing your wisdom and expertise and educating us. And we're just so proud to know you and to see the growth in the California DMO. So thanks for all that you're doing. And we can't wait to see what happens next. So round of applause for our guests, guys. Here. Yes.
Thank you so much.
You too. Appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
All right, we're going to put you back in the green room, and Mandi and I will close out the show. So, Mandi, great show. What?
Yeah.
I'm sure we have lots of notes. Who do we have to look forward to next week?
We have CEO and chairman of Hospitality Performance Network, Bill
Ooh.
Kilberg. We've been
Okay.
trying to get Bill on the show since we started, and he finally has a window. So tune in. It's going to be fun, fiery, and electric for sure next Monday with Bill Kilberg.
We'll be
Bill
ready.
Kilberg.
So thanks again to our guests for the California DMO for appearing with us. Great show. Make sure if you're watching or listening to subscribe on the platform that you're listening or watching on, rate and review the podcast, the live stream, tell a friend. And with that, we will see everyone next week, 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. on the East Coast. And great show. See you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Adventures in Business. Don't forget to rate and review our podcast on the platform that you're currently listening it on. And don't forget to share it with your friends and anybody that might be as much of the business nerds as Amani and I are. See you next time for another captivating interview.